used to love doing cross stitch when I was in my 20s and 30s, and I've got this little piece here that I never finished. I don't even remember where the book is to complete it, so I'm not quite sure what to do with it. Maybe I'll just copy the design on that side. I think that's all it needs, is the same design again in reverse, so I'll probably just copy that. But I've even still got the needle in here, which, you know, is not a good thing because they get rusty and then you get these ugly brown stains on there, so I'll probably have to wash that when I've completed it. But yeah, I've just been feeling lately like I'd like to do some more cross stitch, or maybe try some embroidery, which I've never done before. I've done hardanger and a few simple stitches of embroidery, but nothing too complex. But I've been seeing a lot of these little kits on Instagram that are really pretty. I think Clever Poppy is one of the companies, so I just bought something from her this morning to send to my daughter to try, and a little kit for myself as well, which it's sort of in the round hoop, and it says "Be kind," and it's got some bees buzzing around it. Looks really pretty and very simple, so I thought I will try that, hang it up in my craft room. And yeah, I would like to try and finish this one, but I wanted to share with you today some of my cross stitch that I did in the past, so just give me a moment and I'll find those. So this is the very first tapestry I ever did, so it would have been 1972. I was only little, and I used just some, so it was a stamped on picture. You can see it's gone really horrible, and yeah, probably from the staples, it's gone all rusty. I'm going to remove it. I just wanted to show you how bad it is. I've had it in a plastic bag, but the humidity up here in Queensland is just terrible. And so a lot of my cross stitches that I used to have framed, I had to take out because they were starting to get mold on them. Even the ones I had professionally framed did the same thing. It's just the humidity up here. It's, yeah, you have to keep washing everything, but it's such a shame. But this one, it was just wool. I think I just had little bits and pieces of wool. It wasn't even the proper tapestry or embroidery threads. It was just little bits of wool that I had laying around that Mum brought home from the factory that she worked in, and this cute little kitty cat. But I'm going to take it off the frame today. I just wanted to show you what it looked like first, and then I'm going to wash it and see whether I can fix it up and restore it. Hopefully I can. Yeah, it's a shame otherwise. Maybe I'll find a nice frame for it or make it into a cushion or something. It's not a picture I really want to hang up anymore, but I did have it when my daughter was little. I had it in a frame in her room. So after I first learnt to do tapestry, and then I started to do it like the stamped cross stitch pictures, but I probably only did one or two of those, and then I went on to the counted cross stitches, where you had to, I think the other ones were called no count, where the picture is actually stamped on the fabric. But most of the ones I did were counting, so you would just work from a pattern and count all the stitches and all the colours. And yeah, I think I mentioned in one of my other videos that there was a craft store down in Melbourne when my husband and I first got married that was closing down, and they got rid of all of their DMC threads really cheap. I think they were like 10 or 20 cents each. So as an anniversary present, my husband bought me one of everything. So I've basically got boxes of every single DMC thread, and then I've got a lot of Anchor and Semco ones that were from my aunties and some from my mum. So still laying around the house. And then when I did cross stitch, I would just have to replace one thread every so often. So this one was very fine. I think it was an 18 or 21 count. My eyes were a lot better then when I was younger, and I was able to do this, but it was just a picture that I found in a magazine, I think, and I just did that picture. Yeah, so I did have it actually framed in an oval frame at one point, but again, I had to take it out, and yeah, it is pretty. Probably should reframe that one as well. And then this one, actually, my daughter did. There you go, back in 2012. She made this simple rose. I never got to frame that, but love is a rose. I think she just worked from a pattern as well. So I taught her again with stamped on pictures, and then she just progressed to doing, the counting ones. And I used to just sew a fine seam around the Aida cloth so that it wouldn't fall apart. So that's one of her ones. And then I think I showed you in one of my other videos, I showed you this set that I'd had. There's two small ones, so I can reunite them now. That's the bigger one. Yeah, I might put them on the dressing table that I've got from my mum. It's an old vintage dressing table. That one. This was one that I started from a magazine, and it was absolutely beautiful. It had these beautiful big flowers on it. I don't know why I lost interest in that one, but I just never finished it. You can see I've got the start of a vase there, and then I think the pattern was in a magazine, and it was really difficult to follow. It wasn't an easy pattern to follow. Yeah, the picture wasn't very clear, and I think it became a chore more than anything else. I think I started that when my children were small, and I just didn't have the time to complete it. But this was one of my first counted ones that I did when I was still young, probably in my early 20s, living in Sydney, and you could buy these kits. And I really love that. Look at all the details in it. You've got the duck or swan there. Yeah, it almost looks like a Paula Vaughan. I think it might have been a Paula Vaughan kit. She did a lot of these types of cross stitch in this sort of style. Yep, so that was that one. A Hummel children one, which I really loved, and I was going to keep doing a lot of these ones. That's the Hummel children. That's really cute. I love that. I never ever framed that one though. But yeah, I just love the detail in cross stitch that you can get with like back stitching it, and the shading that you can get with all the different colors. Just really beautiful, beautiful pictures. So I just keep all of these wrapped now in tissue paper and plastic. And then I also tried to do a little bit of these type of ones. I love those, look at that. The bunny, flowers. They were more like samplers, but cross stitch sampler. And then a little dragonfly that I stitched on the top of there. Again, that's really pretty. And then we had our two Cavalier dogs when our children were small, and I made this one. And I've actually got a set of these, so there's a few more in the set with this puppy on it, doing different activities. Yeah, I found a kit just today actually laying around, so it's from this same set. So I don't know if he's a Cavalier or a Beagle. And this one you can see is what I mean by when it was framed. It started to get this yellowing around the edges where it was framed in. But I did this one when we first got married. Welcome to our home. The birdhouse on the top. Beautiful bluebird. I need to wash all of these again. So 2000 I made that. Oh, actually, no, it was this home. I did this just before we bought our house here. So my son was just a baby then. I love that one. I just love things with birds on it. Birds and butterflies. Made some birth samplers for both my kids. So another thing that happened was, you can see here, this sticky. A friend in Melbourne that my mum knew owned a framing shop, and she kindly offered to frame a couple of my first cross stitches, but unfortunately I didn't realise that she was going to actually glue them into the frames. So I had a lot of trouble getting the glue off, and this was one of them. So this was, I like this. Teddy bears. I used to do folk art back in the early 90s when we first got married. And at that time there was a lot of bear themes with folk art, and they looked like this. Even when you did the folk art, they sort of looked like these bears. You can see I did that one in 98. So yeah, I was actually living up here then in Queensland by that time. Now this one was actually a stamped one. It was the first one that I ever made, apart apart from that cat one, I think. I made this when I first moved to Sydney in 1990. And you can see it's got that glue on the back still. And I don't know how to get that off. I have been looking up some different YouTube tutorials to see whether I can actually get it off, but that was really cute. I made that with the two bunnies on it. And I might make that into a cushion. But I'm so annoyed that the glue's on there because I just can't get that off. It's terrible. And then when my daughter was little, I made this one for her. So I started it before she was born, but then I finished it. I think I've got down there 2004 I finished it. But just the details on it, look at that. That's a picture all on its own. And then you've got these sort of like chain things hanging. It's just beautiful. Teddy bears. Notions, it says there. I love Teddy. And with the teddy bear in the middle, because her room when she was a baby was blue. I didn't want to go with pink at the time. So I finished that, and I was actually going to hang it up, and then by that time she was probably about 4 or 5 years old, and she said she didn't want pink or light blue anymore. She wanted middle blue, which after a bit of working out with a 5-year-old, worked out that she liked aqua. So yeah, I never actually got to frame it and hang it up, sadly. And I was going to make it into a cushion, so I might still do that. Might just sew that into a cushion, on the front of a cushion. Because that's a beautiful one. So I really do want to use these. So this one, I won't show this to you because it's, anyway, it's got on there, Love Never Fails. And on the other side it was our wedding sampler. So it's got our marriage details and everything on there. So I'll leave that one, but yeah, you can see the top of that. Beautiful. This one I really loved. I was going to finish this and hang it in our kitchen. I don't think I ever completed it, did I? Or maybe I did. Actually, I did. I did complete it. I didn't think I'd ever finished it. I left a beautiful big border on it. I was actually going to, I'll have to stand up to show you this one because it's really big. I was going to frame that and hang it in our house somewhere. And I probably still should because that is just gorgeous. And I still like those colours. All the roses. It was an alphabet sampler. I don't remember where I got the pattern from. I think it was just out of a cross-stitch magazine. But I just fell in love with it back then. It was when we first got married, I did that one. So yes, I really should do something with these cross stitches again, shouldn't I? I'm glad I got them out actually, just to have a look at them. And then after Ada cloth, I progressed to linen, which is a lot harder to cross stitch on because there's no sort of set squares. But yeah, I really loved working on linen. And I did this small alphabet sampler. And that was back in 1998. Another one that I don't think I'd framed that one either. Well, actually, I think I did. I had it in a square frame in my kitchen back then. Because you can just see a little mark there where, I don't know what that was from, maybe the hook of the picture frame. There's another one with roses on it. Don't really like that, the colour contrast of that, but that was the pattern that I copied. And then there you have another alphabet sampler on linen. This one was a little stitch sampling kit that I made up for my daughter so that she could learn how to do cross stitch and back stitch and the alphabet and just all the basic stitches. And I was actually going to make them into kits for little girls and see if I could sell them at that time, but life was too busy, never got around to it. And this one I really loved doing. It was a heart hanger piece. Cherish yesterday, dream tomorrow, live today. Or is it love today? Live today. So it's heart hanger and cross stitch on linen. And I'm sorry if it's not coming out very clearly, but I've actually got it behind glass on a little coffee table that my husband and I found at a thrift shop that I just sanded back like that. and it had a tapestry top on it that was disintegrated, but I got a piece of glass cut and then I put this behind the glass. So I think it's almost time for me to take it out and give it another wash and iron, because this is a little table that my husband sits next to and puts his cup of coffee on, and I just want to make sure that piece stays beautiful. So this one is a kitchen sampler that I did. Country kitchen, welcome to our country home. When we first bought this house, it was an ex-rental. It was very run down, and it was already probably about 16 years old, but it had always been rented. I think it was an investment home to whoever owned it before us, and so we slowly made it into our home. And having moved up from down south, I was really into the country theme back then. I still like sort of modern country. Oh, what do you call it now? French country, or sort of farmhouse, but not so much the cottagey country that I did back in the 90s. But I just love this sampler. Goes through all the alphabets: A for apple, B for baskets, C for country. And I had this professionally framed, this one again, with the glue on the back. That's why it's looking like this, and just so much detail into it that I'm really sad that it's actually maybe ruined with that glue. But I have to try and fix it somehow. So it's been sitting in my washing basket for about 6 months while I'm trying to work out how. You can see there, it's got this glue on the back here. It's still quite tacky and sticky, and if I fold it over, it sticks together like that. And it's very hard to iron or wash it out. Yeah, I just don't even know what I can do with it. I'm just really disappointed. But hopefully I can somehow try and get that glue off with something. If anybody knows anything, please let me know what I can do to save that. So this one is quite a big piece. It's a Paula Vaughan pattern again. Anyone who's done cross stitch will remember Paula Vaughan patterns. I think they're probably still around. But my mum actually started this one. I bought it for her because I wanted her to have a hobby, because she'd always worked all her life and she never really had any hobbies like these. I learned a lot of cross stitch and things from my aunties, but my mother worked very hard, so she never had really time for hobbies until she retired. So she started this in, let me see, 1998. And so she started it, but then she started to lose her eyesight and never finished it. I think she only got, I think she might have done maybe just that little bit. And so I said to her, just give it to me and I'll finish it for you. So I finished it in 2011. So yeah, it's never actually been framed, because again, humidity, I need to find other ways to use these beautiful pieces rather than framing them. In this box here, I've just got some small kits. So there's the pattern for that puppy one. Gold leaf needlework, Jenny Haynes collection, Salmon Peeps. So yeah, I think there was 3 or 4 different, 2012, 3 or 4 different patterns. I think I bought that one and another one, which I don't think is in here, but yeah, I bought lots of kits and then I stopped doing cross stitch and went back into crochet. So you can see I've started that one. Actually, one of my girlfriends and I both bought the same kit. I think she got a lot further than me. There's I think I just picked that up from, oh actually that was Mum's, she had that. It was a tablecloth, which I never finished. And then I liked trying these sort of things. Like little serviettes, I think they are. Oops. Should stand up so you can see better. It's like a serviette. So I did an S. And I think somewhere in here is an M. It's just some spare threads. There's another Cavalier, looked like my first dog, Brinkley. There's another, there's the other one, Salmon Peeps. So Peeps is the mouse, Sam is the little dog. That's the other one. And then I had this one, it's Spring. Little mouse bringing him a flower, a daisy. That's so cute. And then this one, some of these I picked up just off eBay, I think. There was a lady not far from here who was retiring. She wasn't able to do cross stitch anymore, and I bought so many different patterns and a lot of her threads and cloths and things from her. So So that one was Benjamin Bunny. Actually, I think she said she used to own a haberdashery shop, and she still had everything in her garage when she retired, but I just took a look at some of the cross-stitch things. So there's another one of those little house needleworks. It was a sampler that I was going to do. So I'm just doing a bit of a cupboard clean this week, and that's why I found all of these, and I just thought I would share them with you. But yeah, I'm just realising I really should do something with them, make things out of them. Maybe some cushions, or sew them onto a blanket, or crochet around them. I don't know. Something, I could do something with them, couldn't I? I might look for some ideas, and yeah, just to preserve them. Don't want them to deteriorate. And I have got some more. I've got plenty of, I think I made a few cushions and a blanket. They're probably somewhere in some stored away. So once I go through my cupboard, I will find all of those and share them with you as well. So I hope you enjoyed seeing a little bit of my cross-stitch journey back in my younger years. I really did love doing cross-stitch, and I still do, but I think just, yeah, as you get older, your eyes strain a bit more. Maybe I need time for some new glasses so I can still do a bit more. Because my auntie who taught me, she's in her 90s now, she's still doing cross-stitch. So surely I can still do it as well. I've been looking everywhere this week for the pattern for this cross-stitch piece that I started years ago, probably about 10 years ago. And it was a design from, I think, from Blackbird Designs. So I've got 3 cross-stitch booklets from the Loose Feathers range. So there's one for summer, autumn and winter. I don't know why they never made a spring one, but there was only those 3. And I've looked through them and this pattern is not in there. So I don't actually know where I got this. And I've been searching the last few days of all the Blackbird Designs, all their patterns online, and I can't actually find this one. So I don't know if I found it maybe in a magazine, like I had a lot of cross-stitch magazines at one time. Maybe it was in there and it was just like a free one, but I just can't find it anywhere. Anyway, I've put it in this hoop. I tried to start stitching it last night and I could hardly see the linen, even with my glasses on, and the lighting was really bad. So I put in another light lamp in the lounge room last night so that I could see it better. So I'd only stitched a little bit of this one, so I've continued on with the leaves, and I don't know what the pattern is, so I'm just basically going to copy this side and put the birds, maybe put one bird here and one up the top there, or even maybe one lower down, I don't know yet, and a few more flowers. This one obviously had a different type of flower on it. You can see there it's got like a little round one rather than the bell-shaped flowers. So I vaguely remember it was a different design on this side, but I'll just sort of try and figure something out anyway. The stitches are so tiny. I think it's like 20 count, 22 count linen. And yeah, so, but I found the, I had a little bag with the colours in it because I was looking for these colours. As I said, I couldn't find the pattern, so I didn't even know what colours they were. But I found these in my little sewing drawer and they look like exactly the same colours. So I must have just put them aside while I was doing this little piece. Normally I have them in a floss, like one of those plastic boxes where you can put all your floss, embroidery floss in. But these ones are kept separately, so I'm happy that I did keep them separately, so at least I can finish it. And then, yeah, I'll make a needle case or something out of that. A little needle book, something similar to these ones that I've got. So this one you've seen before, picked that up in Mulaney. I like the little bird and the buttons, and I've got just my embroidery needles in there, so that one goes with my crochet. And this one I'd made years and years ago, I don't even remember when. Crocheted my name on the back, cross-stitched my name on the back. I washed a few of my pieces this week, and this one has got some sort of like tea stain, I think, on it. And I put it through all different types of cleaning products, soaked it overnight, and it still didn't come out. So I'm thinking, I was trying to think, should I cross-stitch something over it? But I think no, I've found these small little gold things, embellishments. So you can see I've got a little scissors there, a pot plant, and a spade, like a plant and a spade. So I don't remember what they were for, whether they came with one of my cross-stitch patterns in a pack. Some of them, I think it was gold embroidery. Can't remember the brand now, but they used to come with like a little pack of these in them. So they may have been in there and I didn't use them. So I'm thinking I might even just maybe stitch something on there. I don't know, I think that will look a bit silly, wouldn't it? Just a plant there. Or maybe even a button. I've got the, this jar of buttons that were from my mum. And then I've got this whole tin of lots of vintage old coloured buttons. And just, when you buy a shirt or something else and they come with spare buttons tied inside them, I just always keep the buttons and throw them in here. So I'll find something in there that I can sew on to this needle case on the front. Make it, maybe put a few different things on there or some beads, dress it up a little bit. I really like this design. I think I got it from a pansy booklet that I've got, but this, I don't know what that was. That was in the pattern, but it just sort of looks odd. So I think I might just add to that and finish that off. And then inside this one, I've just got the felt. Yes, I might even sew a little pocket in it like this one and put some little buttons and things. That's given me a nice little idea of how I can dress that one up. And I'll do the same with the blackbird design one as well. So that's one of the things I want to do this week while it's raining here still. And then the other thing, I showed you the other day some of my old cross-stitch patterns that had gotten damaged because of the humidity. So this cat one that I stitched back in 1972, I think it was, when I was just young. And it was, you saw the photos before how damaged it was. But I put that through some nappy sand, sprayed it with some preen stain remover, and look how beautiful and clean it's come up. I'm really happy with how that's worked out. It's lovely. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I will sew it into something, or I won't frame it because I don't really want to have that as a framed picture, but I think I'll do something with it anyway, because it's just nostalgic for me. It's one of my first piece. And the other two that I washed was the ones that had the glue on the back. So I soaked those in white vinegar. Oh, so many different things. Bicarb. I tried a few different things this week to get the glue off. Scraped the glue, scrubbed it with a brush. It's just not coming off, but it's not as sticky as it was. But at least it's clean now. So I can make that into a cushion or do something with it anyway. I think I will probably make them into cushions. Save them for my grandkids one day. Who knows? I don't know. And that one too for my kitchen. I sort of kind of feel like framing that one again and hanging it somewhere in the house. But I'm really glad with how clean that came up. But that one is still super sticky on the back. Not as sticky as it was before, but still quite sticky. But if I frame it, yeah, it might be okay. I'll see if I think I've still got the frame that this goes in, so in my wardrobe somewhere. So I'll find that and try and frame that one. And then I found another cross-stitch piece the other day, and I found this frame that somebody gave me that I haven't used yet, and it was this one, Gather the Roses of Life Today. And I did have it in a different frame, but I think I might put it in this one because I kind of like the wide border and the sort of earthy colours. It's just a little bit too big, so I might just have to re-stitch that at the back. It's just on a piece of card that was in a different frame. So yeah, I'll open that up and make that a bit smaller so that it probably have to take off about 1 centimetre all around. And yeah, it'll fit in there then. So I'll fix that frame. And then the other thing I want to do this week is some embroidery. So I've been looking at online on YouTube at some embroidery books and learning different embroidery stitches. And so I went to Spotlight yesterday and I got some felt, and I'm going to make an embroidery book. So that's going to be the base of it. And then I'll use some of my, cross-stitch pieces or embroidery pieces that I've done in the past and sort of stick them on top and decorate that. So that's something new for me to do, just as a break from a bit of crochet. So I'm going to cut those pieces today, and I think I might do it even this size. I found an old diary cover that I had from 2020, and maybe I can cover that with something, with some fabric. I bought some fabric from Spotlight yesterday too, and then see whether I can get these to, I might have to cut them a bit smaller, but I think they should fit. Just try one. Yeah, might have to just trim them slightly smaller, but they should fit in there once they're made into a book. And then if I cover this folder, that will be a nice hard cover. Because I did see online some people were covering them with card, but I've already got this cover and I'm not going to use it for anything else, so I may as well recycle it for my new project. And this is a cross stitch that I did for my mum. I was probably in my early 20s when I did this, and so when she passed away, I had it professionally framed and everything, and when she passed away I got it back, and so it's hanging in my craft room now. I just love the birds. I think it had a different text in it before. It said something about, I think it was the footsteps, follow in my footsteps or something. Footsteps in the sand or something. It was some sort of poem in there, but I changed it out. This is a cross stitch that I did back in 2012, Home of a Needleworker. It sort of encompasses all the things that I love. I used to love doing cross stitch and embroidery and crochet, a little bit of knitting, and I framed it myself, but just in this lovely golden frame. And this beautiful cross stitch I didn't do, but look at the details on it. So that was my dog, who's one of our Cavalier King Charles Spaniels that we had when our children were younger. And when he passed away, a friend of mine in the US who does beautiful cross stitch work, Forever in Stitches is her Instagram. She does all her work from photos. She privately messaged my daughter and asked for my favourite photo, which my daughter sent her, and then she did this beautiful cross stitch and sent it to me. And it's actually like, the stitches are just amazing how tiny they are. So I've just done a little bit of a button stash dive, looking for all the different little buttons that I could sew on my needle case. Yeah, this is an overkill. I'm not going to be sewing this many on, but I started choosing a few and then I just couldn't stop, and there's still, you know, a whole tin left. Look at that, all of those, and then I've got this big jar of all the natural colour ones. I haven't even looked in there yet, but these were just all the coloured button collection, and I tried to picture some little small ones. I've got some bigger ones, handmade with love, but yeah, just have a look at them all. Aren't they gorgeous? You know, when I went to Spotlight yesterday, I looked for just 2 buttons. I think they were like $8 or $10 just for a card with 2 small buttons on it. I couldn't believe how expensive buttons are now. I haven't bought buttons for years because I've always had these ones. So yeah, I've got a little treasure trove here of buttons. Some of them are really pretty, like that one. I love, you could make that look like a flower if I embroidered that onto something. This little blue, I like these little pearl ones. Pearlescent, can you see that there? And these plastic ones that look like a pearl. But, that one there, that's actually metal with a button inside it. These old wooden buttons, I remember my father having those back in the 70s on a cardigan. Some of them are very old, and then you've got some that have been like fabric covered. My mum used to cover her own buttons when she sewed. There's another couple there, just there, fabric covered ones. Some that look like a little flower already. So they'll look really pretty sewing them onto something and then maybe embroidering a stem with some leaves or something underneath. Little tartan one. Another one that looks like a flower there, that gold one there. These little pretty pink ones look like little flowers. So I'll just choose a few of those. There's a purple one just here. Oh, look at that, it's pretty. With a little diamante in the middle. Look at that old button there with the horse on it. And this one with metal insert. There's another one that looks like a flower. And I think somewhere back here, where was it? So this little button here, this little fella, I remember my mum making matching cardigans for my brothers, and this would have been in the late 60s, early 70s, when they were toddlers. And they had a cardigan with these buttons on it. This is the last one left. A little Scotty dog on the button. I don't think that's even a type of plastic. It feels like a Bakelite. Before plastics were the go in Australia. That one there, I love that with the pearl. There's another red one there that looks like a flower. And if I turn that over, yeah, it's like a little flower. That red one there with the shimmer. Yeah, just beautiful. So I'm going to put them in a little container now. Keep them aside from the other ones so that I can use them for my embroidery projects. Really cute. My mother bought this tablecloth back in 1960 when she got married, and she started to stitch it, but she probably only did maybe that much of it. And then it was sitting in a basket for years and years. She had 4 children, so she just didn't have the time or the interest to do it. And when I was in my 20s, I took it, and I'd been learning cross stitch, and so I finished it for her. And then I gave it back to her with a little lace edge on it so she could use it for her table. And this is her table and chairs that she had just before she passed away, and it's in my kitchen now. But it's all cross stitch, It was actually stamped onto the fabric. You can still get tablecloths like this with the stamped on cross stitch images on them. But yeah, it's a vintage tablecloth from 1960, or maybe even earlier. I mean, she got it in 1960, so it could have been around even in the 50s. So that makes it, how old now? About 70 years old, 75 years old. I did use it for a little while when I first got married, and then I gave it to her. And now it's mine again. But I haven't actually used it since she passed away, so today I got it out and I thought I'll put it on my table because someone just gave me some beautiful flowers and I thought it would look really pretty having something vintage there. So while I'm just sitting here showing you my lovely tablecloth that I finished for Mum, that she started and I finished. We've had a few projects like that she started things and I finished them. I just wanted to show you, these arrived last week from Clever Poppy. If you've seen them on Instagram, so I just thought I'll show you what's inside. I haven't started them yet, but I got one for myself and one for my daughter if she wants it. If she doesn't want it, then I said to her I will stitch it and send her the finished thing. So she just loves anything to do with the garden, and so I've got this one for her, just a simple jar with some flowers in it. They're beginner embroidery sample things. Comes with this little piece of paper made with love. I guess you can put that at the back of your piece when you're finished. And it comes with a template. I thought they would actually be stamped onto the fabric, but it just comes with a plain piece of fabric. So I think what I saw on one of her videos is that you place this underneath like that. I'll have to iron the fabric, of course. You place it underneath, and then it came with a pen, a fabric pen. And you draw the image on the fabric, and then it comes with a hoop, so then you put obviously the hoop around it so that you can stitch. And so in the box comes with scissors, some embroidery needles, which is very generous. There's about 6 needles there. You only need one, but anyway, 6 needles. And then all the floss is already wound into colours, and it comes with I think there was 9 or 11 in this one and 9 in the other box. So 9, 10. So 10 colours in that one with the hoop and the fabric and the image. Yep, everything's there, like a whole kit for you to start embroidering. So I thought that was pretty good value. If I had to go and buy all of those things separately, probably cost me just as much. So yeah, and then this other one is Keep Calm and Be Kind. Make your bee happy. Oh, that's cute. I think that came with this one. Don't worry, be happy. That one doesn't have any words on it, but this one actually has words on it. So again, scissors, your hoop, and pen. So it says heat erasable pen. I'm wondering if once you've stitched it, you wash the piece and iron it, maybe the heat disappears. I don't know. I'll have to read the instructions. And it also comes with a card with the website and a password. I won't show that to you, on their website, and you can get some video tutorials on how to do this. So this one came with 3, 6, 8 colours only. I think I dropped one when I opened it up before, so I'll have to check if it's in my lounge room somewhere. So this is the one that is in here, Be Kind, and that's the image that's going to go on there. So that's the 2 different ones that I got. There's that one with the vase and the Be Kind. You could actually, they did have a special where you could get 3 kits, and that was better value actually than buying them separately like this. But I wanted these 2 in particular, and they didn't have a kit with the 3 that had these 2 in it. They either had one or the other. So that was a bit disappointing, but anyway, I liked those. I knew my daughter would like that one with the vase, and I really love the bee, so that's the one I'm going to make for myself. And then I'm just reorganising my little craft room, and so I'll put all these things in there and I'll be able to hang them on the wall when they're finished. So I just wanted to show you those. So that's Let's Get Stitchy by Clever Poppy. And Clever Poppy is at Clever Poppy on Instagram, and that's their website. Yeah, and it says on the back, you don't have to be creative or an experienced DIYer to get your stitch on with Clever Poppy. Our kits and step-by-step videos, our kits and step-by-step videos make it easy peasy to learn embroidery. At Clever Poppy, we believe in progress over perfection and the joy that comes from doing something just for you. So friend, what are you waiting for? Jump inside to start stitching. Very cute. And I think it's, from what I saw from their email, it's a family-run company here in Australia, and they make these little kits. When I finish it, I'll show you how that's come out. This is not a paid promotion, by the way. I'm just excited about getting this little kit and I wanted to share it with you. In case anyone's thinking of getting one, this is what comes in the kit. When our first baby was born, my mother made this very quirky, cute little creature. I think it's supposed to be a bunny. So she knitted it, and it was just really little for him to have in his crib when he was born. And I've kept it all these years in a box, and I made a couple of boxes for our children. When they leave home, they can keep these sort of things if they want them. If not, they don't need to. Anyway, the boxes are still here. Our children have moved out, but I found him and he needed a wash, so I gave him a wash, and then I thought I'd make him a little set of clothes. So last night I crocheted him a little pair of trousers and just fit on like that. So he's knitted, but his clothes are crocheted. So just a cute little pair of pants. And then I tried to make a pullover or a jumper or a sweater, but I was having trouble getting the shape of it right. And then I thought, why don't I just make 2 granny squares and join them at the sides and make some little shoulder straps. And so that's what I've done. And I was going to actually crochet some sleeves onto them, but I don't think I need to because he's quite cute just like this. And I also made a little hole here at the back of the trousers for his little pom-pom tail that goes like that. And there's his little outfit. Kind of looks like he's ready for exercise, doesn't he? Anyway, I just thought he was cute with some clothes on. And I'm thinking of making like a little headband or something. Yeah, I did see some cute little dresses and bows that you can put on knitted and crocheted bunnies. But yeah, he was for our son, so I just wanted to keep him a bit more boyish. And I don't know what to put on his head. Maybe, yeah, just like a little green or lilac headband. So there he is. He doesn't have a name, just a little bunny. Bye. I finished this project today, the needle case that I had that had the stain on it. So I was able to cover that with a button and added a few more buttons on there to make it look like a little garden. Just fill out the space a little bit more. It's just looked a bit empty with the just the pansies on there. So I really like this purple flower with the looks already petals on it, that button. And that little pink one there is also really cute, and these little pink ones. And then I just embroidered some leaves and some petals on as well. I was going to keep the inside of it, but when I wanted to unstitch it, I had to actually remove the pink layer so that I could stitch these buttons on so that it wouldn't show through. And I saw that it's actually gotten quite thin from years of putting needles in it, and it was starting to tear. So I decided just to take those out and put some new felt in there. So what I've done on the inside, I had this piece of felt has already got adhesive on it. So I made this little band out of some pretty floral fabric, folded it over so it's like a pocket, and tucked it around the felt, and then removed the adhesive and popped it in through the back there. And that's the front. And there you have the back one as well, with some flowers with some leaves and the stems, and just stitched around the edges as well. And then I've just got this purple strip in the middle of purple felt. And I thought that I liked that blue and the purple sort of kept in theme with what the front of it was as well, even more than I think the bright pink did. So yeah, I didn't change the back, just left that the same. But yeah, that'll last a little bit more now. Now I can pop all my needles that I had back in here again. Had quite a lot of needles in there. That one looks a bit rusty, I won't put that back in. But yeah, I can start to add in all the needles. So I keep most of my just different sewing needles, different embroidery cross-stitch needles in this one. It's different than the one that I use for my crochet embroidery needles. And I keep this in a little pouch as well that I've got, a little zipper pouch. And I like having these different needle cases when I'm looking for specific needles that I need. Some of them have gone a bit rusty though, so it was about 20 years ago when I made this needle case, and I haven't used it for many years. So yeah, there's some bigger ones there, and even a really big one, which I might add that to my cross stitch one. So I probably wouldn't, my crochet one, I think I probably wouldn't use that for cross stitch or for embroidery. Okay, so there we go. Added all those needles in. I'll throw the rusty ones away or clean them up. And there's my little needle case. There's one finished. Yep. Still have lots of buttons left over for other projects. During COVID, my daughter had just finished school the year prior, and when everyone was in lockdown and we were all home, I was trying to look for things for her to do to keep her interested while she was at home. And so I ordered some of these Stampin' Up stamp cases with different stamps in it and all the inks, and we started doing card making. But after a couple of years of card making, I think I was kind of over card making for a while, and I was thinking of maybe selling these. But then recently I noticed on Instagram they're advertising a lot of hand embroidery again. I don't know, maybe that's been around for a while, but on my Instagram feed, that's what's been showing up. So, and they just use these pictures with outlines and then you can embroider over them. And I was thinking of ordering some of those kits. I did actually order one from Clever Poppy, I think I just mentioned to you before. But then I remembered that I had these stamp kits and I was wondering whether I could use these. So I've got this one with dragonflies. I love this one with the little birds on it. And this one here with the girl on the swing. So I thought maybe I could use these to stamp onto some Ada cloth or some linen fabric that I had left over from my cross-stitch days and see whether I could embroider on those. So that's what I've been doing this weekend. So I used these, I'm doing the bird one at the moment, but I've just finished this one with some dragonflies and some flowers. So let me just show you what I did with those. So what I did was I first of all stamped them onto some linen just with a light grey stays-on ink that you can purchase from any of our craft shops. You can't probably see that one really clearly, but that's the girl on the swing there, which I haven't stitched over yet, but that's just on some linen. And I'm going to cut those out and embroider over them. And then I did some on Ada cloth as well. So I've got another set with hearts. So I thought they might make something nice and small to embroider over that. But yeah, just something that you can do with your stamp kits if you've got any laying around. So what I've made, I showed you that folder that I had that was a leftover diary cover. And so I've covered that now. And this is my dragonfly picture that I've done here. And I've embroidered over the top of that. So there's the words there, may good things grow all year long. And I did the 2 dragonflies, which is on this kit here. And that's the wording that I used. And then that bunch of flowers there, I just did in the corner here, embroidered those on. So I'm really happy with how that came out. So what I did was I just had a piece of Aida cloth, and I bought this really thick felt from Spotlight. So it's quite thick. It's probably maybe like 1/2 centimetre. Yeah, I don't know what that would be in inches, but it's quite thick. It's probably about 4 mil, 5 mil thick there. And so I just cut out a piece and I put the Aida. Oh, actually, no, sorry, I didn't use this one for that. I used this for underneath this fabric. So I've wrapped this faux leather cover in the felt, first of all, and then wrapped the fabric around it. But for under this one, what I used for that one is this other felt that I bought that has paper on the back that when it peels off, you've got this sticky layer. So it's an adhesive felt. I'll see if I can get that off there. When you peel that off, it's quite sticky and tacky. So I used a piece of this that I cut up, and then I embroidered this little square and then folded this over the outside of this felt piece, wrapped it around and stitched. I first of all just did a straight stitch. So skipped 2 stitches and just did a straight stitch all around to adhere the Aida cloth to the felt. And then I cut it to the size that I wanted to go on the front of this. And then I peeled off the sticky paper on the back and stuck it onto the book. And then some of the edges were still sort of folding up a little bit because they weren't as sticky as the center of it. And so then I just did a simple stitch where I stitched into the fabric here a little bit, went up through that straight stitch and over and down through that straight stitch, and then caught the fabric again, and just did that all the way around to catch it onto the book. Just show you how the book looks on the inside. So remember, it had pockets on the inside. So what I did was I lined it completely with this fabric, and to get it to stick to the leather, I used some double-sided tape. So I had double-sided tape, a very thin one from the craft shop in my, just in my card making stuff that I still had left over. And so I did double-sided tape all around the edges, everywhere, and stuck this green purple fabric down first. Then I made a lining with just a piece of normal felt, like this one, that sort of normal felt, and wrapped that with, actually no, I think I used the sticky back, like a whole one of this. Yeah, I cut a whole piece of that one out and put this fabric onto it on the outside. Again, peeled off the backing and adhered that to the inside of the cover and sort of slid it in the back there and slid it in this way here. And I did the same with this all underneath here. I put some double-sided tape just to hold it down all around the edges, and then I stitched a very, very fine stitch around all the edges of everything just to hold that lining in there. And down here as well, along the side and up there. So this lining is actually adhered into here. And then what I did was, before I actually stuck that part down, I had made these pages just with normal felt pieces, so just 2 pieces, and I wrapped 3 pieces of cord around the lining with a knot at the back, and then I stuck this down and then sewed it. Yeah, and then I could just slide these pieces of felt in and out. So you've got 4 pages and then another 4 and then another 4. So what I've seen on YouTube, I've watched a few different tutorials now, is that you can make some different embroidery pieces and stitch them onto the felt. And then the next one would go on that one, and then you can join these two together with a blanket stitch. So it makes a nice thick page. So I might do that. So I've actually started doing this one with the birds and the flowers. I'm going to stick that on there like that. I'll cut it a bit smaller so that it fits, and do some other things on there as well. Once I've attached it to the felt, I'll probably stitch all around, take the felt out and I'll stitch all of that around and do some other embellishments and things on there. But I just wanted to do that sweet little bird embroidery there. I haven't done a lot of this type of embroidery before, so I'm not really good at satin stitch and all of that, but yeah, it's just my first attempt. So yeah, do something different. I was thinking of doing one for each month of the year. I've seen Helen from Mousy Makes do that on her YouTube. So one for each month, so that you get, yeah, sort of like January, February, March, April, like that. Or I might even do one for each season in there as well, because I've got some other felt pieces, purple ones. These ones left over. So I might actually even put them in between somewhere, like one for summer, one for spring, one for autumn, one for winter, and keep the seasons separate, and then do one for each month. And that way it's not going to be a really big project that I'll be working on all the time, but just something to do once a month. I could do a little embroidery. So I just wanted to show that to you. Yeah, I'm quite happy with how that worked out, how that looks. And I liked being able to keep these pockets, because I can maybe put some little ephemera or something that I've collected over the years from my children. I've got a couple of bookmarks that I cross-stitched, and some of my other little cross-stitch pieces that I showed you that I didn't know what to do with. I'll probably attach them in here as well, and then have a nice little fabric book. So that will be fun to do. Nice little fun project. So I hope you enjoyed watching just something a little bit different for this video. Just some little embroidery things that I can do. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you like this video. And I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you for all your comments and for keep coming back and seeing the different things that I'm making. And if you've got your own YouTube channel and you're sharing things, please let me know in the comments, because I'm always looking for different podcasts and vlogs and things to watch as well. Okay, thank you. Bye.